Okay, we're getting ready to set up our Hillary tent, and it fits 8 to 10 people. Here are the instructions. So you want to make sure you have those handy. And there are 3 sets of poles. You've got your rear set, the front set, and the middle set. And they're marked with M's for middle, F for front, and R for rear. Make sure you have a couple of hammers handy and plenty of tent pegs. Okay. The next step, step 2, you want to make sure you have enough tarp under your tent. You're going to lay it out so that the opening, which is the zipper side, is either alongside a hill or at the bottom of the hill, so that the back of the tent or the side of the tent, preferably the back, is on the upper end of a hill. I just don't want the neighbors to see inside the tent. But normally I would put the back end at the top end of a hill. Step 3, you want to make sure you put the corner stakes in to the ground at an angle toward your tent. So you're going to do the main stakes on the 4 corners first, and then in the centers. Okay, when you're driving in the stakes for step 3, make sure you drive them in at an angle. And if you have this little hook on the outside, you got to make sure it's on the outside. So when you get to the loop, it'll grab onto the loop. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put together the 3 arches. The first arch, which will be front set of tubes, is the front part of the tent. The middle is the middle part of the tent, and the rear will be the rear part of the tent. Okay, so let's take a look at these. These are the poles, okay? So for each side, you want to have 1. These come out. That's 2, 3, and then an arch, okay? For the other side, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to have the bottom piece with this adjuster on it, 2, 3, and then the arched piece. Across the center of the middle, you're going to have 1, 2, 3 pieces. They're going to lay across the top of the tent inside the casing. Okay, step 5, we're going to put the center 3 pieces inside the casing first. So this is the center of your tent. And there you have it. The width is the exact same width as the center casing of the tent. So we're going to lay that down. Then we're going to do the poles on the sides. This is the one with the arch on it. We're going to go ahead and set it on there. And then you're going to tie the little bow around the edge there. That keeps the stress off of the laces, or off of the sewing. Then we're going to bring this pole to the other side of the tent and do the same thing here. It goes in that smaller piece, and then we're going to tie this on to keep it from putting added stress on the sewing. Okay, now we're ready to do the front and the rear in the same way. Okay, so now we're ready for step 6. We're going to put the front arch on the front of the tent. If you look, this is the front of the tent with the porch, and this section here is the porch overhang. So we're going to be putting the front arch through these loops right here. There are about 5 loops in the front, and the front arch consists of the following: 1, 2, 3 straight poles. On the left side, you've got 1 curved pole, 2, 3 poles, and this is the base with the plastic. On the right side of the tent, you have the same thing. You've got the arch, the middle pole, and the bottom pole with the plastic on it. So we're going to go ahead and put the straight pole through the loops first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops, and then this is where our curve is going to go, and that one's right. Okay, and then you just do the same thing for the other side as well. Ready to put the rear arch on. Okay, one thing you do want to notice, that one of the poles for the rear has actually 2 male ends. Okay, instead of male, female, it has 2 male ends. So that's going to go on that right side over there. So we're going to attach those 3 together, and again, let's stretch out the roof. Go ahead and get a good shot of the roof. So this will be the roof of the sleeping part of the tent. So you want to stretch that out. And then we're going to thread the top part of the arch through these hoops. Okay, now that we've threaded them through the hoops, you've got the 2 sides assembled. You've got a small arch. You've got a middle piece. And then again, you have a piece with a black peg on the bottom. Okay? You're going to have this side angled in, and the front is also angled in. So you got one that goes through the center, one that kind of lies diagonal toward the front. The other front one lies diagonal toward the rear. So we're going to go ahead and insert the arch, and we're going to tie it up again to make sure that you're not putting any undue stress on the stitching. Same thing on this side. You want to make sure that it's angled in, otherwise it's really hard to handle. And then again, tie it up. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to pitch the tent. So since you have the middle arch ready, you have to use this adjustment on here, and you probably need 2 people. Push it up to your desired height. Okay, so you're going to push it up to your desired height, and it'll automatically fall into place there. So as you can see, the tent is now standing basically by itself without me holding it until we get the front and the rear poles in place. Okay, this is where it's very important to make sure that your zipper remains closed, both on the inside compartment and on the porch compartment. You want to make sure your zipper's closed so it doesn't make any stress there. So all we did was we just propped up the front bars onto the grass, and we did the same thing for the rear. We just propped it up onto the grass, and it'll stay by itself there. Okay? You do want to make sure you put plenty of pegs in. I didn't put pegs in all of them for demonstration purposes. You want to make sure you have all your pegs in place. Okay, let's go around to the front. So now you're ready to go camping. You've got your little door here. And it hooks on. Come on inside. This is the front porch area. You can sleep in here if you want, if it gets to be hot. And this is the private sleeping area. And you just put your little curtain back like that. Keeps it nice and ventilated during the daytime. Come on inside. And there you have it. Your sleeping area. So this tent can easily sleep at least 6 adults.